rebuilding. The catastrophic failure, a new start, physically, mentally, our careers, our businesses. Step back, first step, next step. The driver in me just wants to get it done tomorrow. We'll do this, do that, let's move this, where are we at with this? You build some confidence, build some self-esteem, start to feel better about yourself. The Silverback Blueprint Podcast, a show for men over 40 who focus on getting stronger, staying motivated, building discipline, creating a community, and becoming truly happy. Hey there, and welcome to episode 181 of the Silverback Blueprint Podcast. Changes bring on changes. The whole purpose of this podcast is to help guys over 40 and 50 just get control of their lives, create the lifestyle that they want, get over their humps, deal with their demons, find a way through, and stop not being the best that you can be. And in order to do that, we have to start with changes. And I always talk about small, subtle changes. I always like to start with the physical changes as far as start walking, start movement, start working out, keep it simple. But once we start creating those changes, what we have to do is make sure that we stay consistent with them and we fight to hold that, right? That's super important. I'd rather see one new change and you consistently hold on to that for 30 days than trying to do too many things all at once. I like to layer changes. Once we get some momentum, we get things going. I think it's really good to add the next thing. But we have to start. It has to be a change. It has to be a change in your habits and then a change in your thinking. But changes create changes. And it happens rather quickly if you're consistent. There's small changes at first. It could be anything from just your outlook. It could be just to feeling your muscles again and starting to feel alive physically. But those little changes are critical because what they're going to do is they're going to create some momentum. And they're going to make you want to train a little more often. They're going to make you look forward to the next workout. You're going to enjoy your biceps being a little sore a couple days later, feeling your lat muscles, your leg muscles. That's why it's important that you don't go so hard that you're crippled and you can't walk for a week, you can't sit down on the toilet, can't get off the toilet. That's no good, right? And that's the problem too. Some people, they try to get back to where they were. Problem is the last time they were there was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. So you got to start small changes. But those small changes will quickly become bigger changes. As that momentum grows, as you get some victories, as you start having those small wins every day, you want more of it. You start thinking about it. It becomes a little more front of mind. You're encouraged by it. So next thing you know, you're thinking a little bit more about what you're eating. You're thinking a little bit more about what you're doing socially. You're stopping at 2 beers, hanging out with the boys instead of 12. It's those little changes that are so important. A prime example is, when's this hitting the streets, Luke? What?
March 25th.
So this is going out March 25th. We are currently February 19th. So I am 9 weeks, starting my 9th week of my transformation, going from powerlifting to bodybuilding, down almost 50 pounds. And all I'm doing, and all I did was start with some small changes in how I ate, how much I was eating, what I was eating. I didn't add more workouts. I was already powerlifting. In fact, I toned down the intensity of the training. But what's really interesting is that the knowledge is already there. In fact, this is, I'm in an industry of fitness and strength and conditioning. And as I started to apply the knowledge I already had, but I did it with small changes, building momentum, it really feels like it was only a couple weeks ago. But there's been a tremendous amount of progress. Someone reached out to me today and was like, what are you doing? What is it exactly that you're doing? And when I told them that my average workout is 35 minutes long for weights, and my steady state cardio on the days off is 25 minutes on a stationary bike, they didn't believe it. They imagined that I'm in the gym 2 hours a day, blood and guts, killing myself. Now, the 3 days a week that I do hit the weights, we work hard, right? We push those last sets, we force some reps. There is some blood and guts in there for sure. But that's 3 times a week, 30 to 40 minutes at the most, start to finish. The big changes happened when I started just looking at my nutrition. And again, applying the knowledge that I already know, but sat down and got serious with it. So one of the changes I did is I started, as you already know, listening to this show, I have a journal and a ritual that I like to do every day. And what I started to do is I created a second journal. And what that second journal is all about is just my food journal and my training journal and my weigh-in every day. That's all that journal represents. But it represents exactly that. So what's happening is when I look at it, it reminds me of what I'm up to. It's on my desk. It sits just to the right of my computer and stuff at work. So it just reminds me. The notes are simple. For my meals are consistent. So I just write meal 1, what time, meal 2, what time, meal 3. I write down the workout I did, specifics on the weights, so it takes more space. On the cardio, stationary bike, 25 minutes, level 7. That's it. But that little change made me step into it more, made me own it more. And I knew I had to make those little changes because the goal I've set for myself is large. To go from December 15th, 2018, to competing on stage November 2nd, 2019, less than 11 months to lose 150 pounds, to get from 31% body fat down to 10% body fat. That's a huge endeavor. Now, at the end of it, I know I'm going to be a different person. And I've wanted to do this since I was 20. I've wanted to do this since I was 30. I've wanted to do it since I was 40. But the only thing that's making the biggest difference is these small changes that are bringing on changes. If you're following me anywhere else, you'll see I post my progress. I have my Sunday progress pic. It's me in the cable crossover. I like that shot. I like how it makes me look. I can see what's happening. I can see the definition through the arms, chest, shoulders, face. It's consistent. Everybody in the gym knows I finish with that. So what happens is I'm able to see week to week, not just on the scale, not just in my notes, but visually how it's changing. So it's another way to stay motivated, to stay focused overall. Something else that's really cool is the knowledge I'm using is the knowledge I've possessed for 20 years. But all of a sudden now, because I've made these changes and I'm changing, I've had more people reach out to me in the last week to help them with programs, to write their nutrition for them, to set them up, than I've had in the last 10 years. So the changes that I've made are visible on the inside and the outside, so much so that people are taking notice. Now that works out really well for me since this is what I do for a living. But at the end of the day, people want to be around it. They want to share in that success. I've had numerous people reach out to me and tell me how they're motivated, inspired by watching what I'm doing, and now they're doing more themselves. And that's the name of my game. That's my purpose. I want to motivate, inspire, help. But it didn't happen as well as I wanted to until I took control personally, till I made some changes, some real changes. And I say it all the time, if I can do it, then anybody can do it. We've talked many times before, the knowledge is out there. It's in the application and in the consistency of that application that you're going to win. We're just wrapping up a 6-week transformation program I'm running at the gym. I have about 14, 15 people. You know what? It's down to 7. 7 people keep showing up. But guess what? They're the ones who are making the changes. They're the ones who are seeing the changes happen before them now and appreciating it. And some of them had to struggle with the diet. Some of them had to struggle with the journaling. Some of them had to struggle with the training. Because everyone's a little bit different. What holds you back is not going to be the same thing that holds another person back. But the one thing they'll admit is that when they finally changed the way they thought about things, when they changed the way they thought about that issue that they had, real change started to happen. And I'm excited for them because it's only 5 weeks. They have the rest of their lives. I've got some 20-some-year-olds, some 30-some, some 40, 50-some-year-olds in this group. And they're all doing well. And those last 7 are doing very well. And to see that excitement in them, to see them at the point where, they're pumped and they're thinking about the next thing and how to keep this going and how to keep this momentum moving forward. That's it. That's that click. That's the aha moment that we need to get. But it happened with some change. One of the things I challenged them for their last week is what's the one thing that they can change or double down on in their activity for this last week to really bring in a great end to a 6-week challenge. And for some of them, it's going to be even tighter on the nutrition. Some of them, it's going to be even more focused on the workouts. Some of them, it's going to be even more focused on the journaling, the rituals, and the mindset. But if I look at those 7, in those 3 areas, they've got 2 down really good, and they know it's one of the 3 that they've got to focus on a bit more, and it's different for each one of them. But what's really cool is that aha moment, that click for them. What clicked is they realize it's that thing that they need to focus on that's going to take them to the next level. It's going to give them the biggest amount of gain in the shortest amount of time. It's the one thing they need to continue to change their habits on and their focus on. I'm excited for what's happening for my weight loss. I was telling someone the other day, I feel fantastic. I'm about to break into the 340s this week, which I haven't been there in a long time, and I haven't been 340 with this amount of muscle, this amount of conditioning. So it's new. So one of the things I'm working on is the same thing for myself. I said, what can I double down on this week? What can I take that I'm already doing and just put a little extra energy behind it? Because that ball's already rolling, so let's just roll a little faster. So for me, it's focusing even harder on my rituals, on the day-to-day things, the small things. When I get up, what I write down, my journaling. Take it to the next level. Push it. Make it a little bit better. Find a way to improve upon it. In other words, create another little bit of change. It almost gets to a point where it becomes addictive. Someone told me early on when I started this, if I stick with it, there's going to be a point where that weight loss keeps happening and the transition starts to happen, the transformation, and you start to see it and feel it. It becomes its own thing. And I knew they were right, but now that I'm getting into it, I'm like, yes, that's what he was talking about. And it's still just the tip of the iceberg. But what's important is I protect that momentum. I keep that consistency. I cut things out that get in the way. But it all started with some changes, some small changes. Look around, look at what you're doing, what's not working. Find one small thing to make a change in it. Is it getting up 15 minutes earlier? Is it starting the journal? Is it showing up at the gym every day for 20 minutes, no matter what? Create that change and then hold on to it for 30 days. You'll see it'll open you up to other changes and bigger changes and momentum. Guys, that's all I have to say on that for now. Listen, reach out if you have any questions, kurthaas@gmail.com. I've had a lot of people, like I said, in the last little bit, reach out, and I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to talk. I'm happy to get back to you guys. I want to help. That's my goal. I want to help you guys become the best versions of yourselves. Head on over to iTunes. Leave us a 5-star review, a 5-star rating. And, of course, head on over to hostilegear.com. Use the code word Silverback to get 20% off your changes hoodie. And I'll talk to you guys later.